There is one major skill that today's screenwriters are sorely lacking, and it has nothing to do with narrative, characters, or dialogue. No, this is a missing skill set that exists outside of the pages of your story. But when mastered, this will be the difference maker when it comes to selling your project, landing that dream writing job, or getting representation. And that skill is email marketing. Email marketing, I know. Ew, right? No, stay with me. This is important because there's too much confusion around this term within this profession. I've talked with tons of screenwriters about this topic, and every time they snuff the word marketing and pretend it doesn't relate to them. But then when I interview producers, agents, managers, and distributors, they all say the same thing. Will somebody please teach these writers how to write a damn email? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. And stick around because after we show you how to write professional emails and detail the best times to send them, we'll also give you some ready to send screenwriter email templates. Now, let's boogie. It is understandable that the term email marketing is usually reserved for more traditional business-oriented communications, like say a company's monthly newsletter or product update. But really, when we break it down, all it is direct online business messaging. And this is where many screenwriters are missing a step. They too are in a business and they too are attempting to communicate with another business about selling a project, nurturing a relationship, or collaborating together. Where most writers get it wrong is they treat email as a means to an end. And you know what? It comes across that way. Many emails that producers and decision makers get from writers are pushy, needy, confusing, overwritten, and most of all, too self-serving. We get it, the writer has an objective and they want this person to solve it, but that's not how we communicate in the business world. In fact, this type of communication can actually be harmful to your reputation. That is why it's so important to learn the best practices for this critical part of your career. Okay, so let's begin with when to send an email. Now, based on email marketing data across most industries, the recommended time to send an email is Tuesdays or Thursdays between 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. This is generally when the recipient is in work mode and readily available to read what lands in their inbox. It isn't a hard and fast rule though, so if you need to send something on a Wednesday afternoon, they will most likely see it. But if we look at the data, then aim for a Tuesday or Thursday slot and see how that helps. Next, let's look at the purpose of the email itself. In marketing, it is crucial to have a call to action with any professional communication. What this means is, what do they want the recipient to do after they've read your email? This is your CTA, your call to action. If you're contacting an actor and would like to speak to them about organizing a table read for your script, then your CTA could be a proposed meeting to discuss the project. If you're looking to have a fellow writer read your screenplay and provide feedback, then your CTA would be for them to agree to receive a copy of your work for review. Without an understandable, legible call to action, your email has no purpose. And if it has no purpose, why should they read, react, or even reply to it? It sounds simple, but many times the sender doesn't have a clear concept of what they're looking for when they send out an email. They might have a general idea, but they have not sufficiently detailed the clear, direct ask. And these emails come across as more time-suck requests, where it has a feeling of an objective, but is still too loose in detail for a recipient to want to respond. Examples of these time-suck emails are, maybe we can hop on a call sometime, or if you had time for a quick chat. If you're contacting a busy person, this could be too vague for them. So be specific. If it is about arranging a meeting, detail exactly what you're looking for, what their part will be, and a suggestion of the time and date. Basically, don't leave it up to them to fill in the blanks. They won't, and your email will just get pushed down the inbox and forgotten about. Now, in terms of a CTA for producers or decision makers, many writers that I know would look to lead with the big ask. Can you read my screenplay? That actually isn't a very successful strategy for the first email. I mean, I'm sure it has worked for a couple of people in the past, but in general, that is a tall order if this is the first message they receive from you. We basically need to get away from the concept that one email is going to deliver all of our hopes and dreams. Instead, it's about using email to nurture and cultivate relationships. By leading with the "can you read my script" move, it shows the recipient that you're more interested in benefiting yourself rather than developing a professional business relationship that helps them achieve their goals as well. And nobody wants to be treated that way. Instead, try to think of ways where you can add value to the recipient. Is there something you could offer them with your skill set, your passion, your experience that will result in a positive impact on their life or career? We're all selfish by nature, and marketing works best when it feeds off the recipient's needs and not your own. And again, this most likely will take more than one email. And if you don't get a response, it doesn't mean it's a no or that they don't like you. It just means that they were busy, or they didn't connect with your first message and another email at a later date should be sent. In fact, many times they might want to even get back to you, but it just slipped their mind. So ensure that you go into your email marketing game with the idea that most likely you won't land your goal with just one email. Another thing you should aim to do is to keep the response as low maintenance as possible. We don't want them to spend too much time working on their reply back to you. An absolute pro tip for this is to actually provide multiple choice responses to your request within the email you send. So if they're stuck for time, they could just respond with A, B, or C that you suggested rather than having to come up with their own explanation. In B2B marketing, this move is highly successful. Now, once you've decided who you're emailing, what the topic is, and what your CTA will be, it's time to focus on the very first thing your recipient will see, the subject line. In email marketing, 47% of email recipients open an email based on the subject line. This means that it's a crucial part of the game. The general best practice is to keep your subject line short, in and around 30 to 40 characters. It should also work as more of a tease for what's inside rather than a full description. If your email is a film trailer, then your subject line is a teaser. Obviously, the subject line will depend on the topic itself. When I would send out emails inviting people to attend a webinar, I found one of the best subject lines that worked was simply, "Your invitation inside." That's it, a hint of something on the other side of the email, an alluring sense of curiosity. You could also have a bit of fun with your subject line. When the screenwriters of the film Deadpool, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, were struggling to get their film made, they decided to reach out to long-standing X-Men producer and writer Simon Kinberg for help. The subject line they went with was, "Deadpool needs your ass." When Kinberg opened the email, the first line in the email was, "Sistance." It was a fresh, disarming, and funny way to kick off an email. And yes, it was effective, as Kinberg did help them get the film out of development hell. But it all started with an email, and that email started with a cheeky, intriguing subject line. Next up, let's make sure you're signing off in a clear, professional manner with your signature. Most email providers allow you to produce an automatic signature, which is nice. But what exactly could you include? Obviously, let's go with your name, first and last. Maybe some additional contact information as well, like your phone number or your social link. Do you have a website? If so, we should hyperlink there as well. You can also add a photo to help push the human connection a bit. Putting a face with the name can always help remind the recipient that they are indeed communicating with, a person. Or if you've met them once before, that photo might help jog their memory. Other fun ideas you could use in your signature are maybe a link to your portfolio or a specific film that you've worked on that's just been released. If you have a project that received a great review, maybe you link to that article itself. I've seen people add quotes that they've found strong connections with, or even use this moment to promote a worthy cause, hyperlink a charity or a support network for people or groups in need. All right. Now it's time to put all these ingredients together, and as promised, here are a couple of screenwriter email templates to help you get started. This first one is centered around a scenario where a writer briefly met a producer at an event and wants to send a follow-up email a few days later. Hello, name. I'm a writer that attended a screening of your film at the insert event last week. I thought it was a very thoughtful and engaging story. Amazing work. I just wanted to ask you a quick question about independent film production for a project that I'm working on. In regards to the first steps, what would you recommend comes first? Getting a production company on board or applying for development funding as an independent screenwriter? I appreciate your time and any and all thoughts you might have on the question above. Kind regards, your name. A clear CTA, a couple of pre-written responses to choose from. It also frames the relationship between the sender and the recipient so that it reminds them of how they met in the past. But let's say you have met an industry professional recently and like to send a follow-up email around something that you've talked about. How about trying a version of this template out? Hi name, it was lovely meeting you. Mention something complimentary in regards to what was discussed in your last communication. A nice opening while also reminding them of your previous correspondence. As promised, I wanted to follow up with, Provide a link, a document, or a video that relates to something of value that you mentioned or highlighted that you'd send along. Let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. Thank you, your name. Now, this can work in the form of a resource request too, if they mention something that you'd like them to send to you. But it works best if you're providing the value at this early stage in the relationship. Now let's look at a scenario where a writer wants to re-engage with a contact they haven't spoken to for a while. This could be a producer they know but haven't talked to for over a year, or some sort of decision maker that they would like to spark a relationship with once again. For this screenwriter email template, let's focus on adding value and pitch this as a way for you to provide benefit to the recipient. Hi name, hope you and your family have been keeping well. It's been a while since we chatted, and I was wondering if you might be going to the upcoming insert networking event. I was wondering if you might have time to meet for a coffee. It'd be great to catch up. Also, I'm curious to hear if you might have a passion project you've been thinking about for a while, but haven't had the chance to develop. Maybe this is something I could help with. Anyway, have a great day, first name, and hopefully we can chat in person soon. In this example, we understand that this potential recipient probably listens to other people's ideas quite often, and their current plate may already be full managing and developing a few other projects. However, there's a good chance that they themselves may have an idea for a project they think could have potential. It could be based on a personal life experience or an article that they have read. Either way, what a great way to come back into their lives as someone who's genuinely looking to provide help rather than looking to help yourself. Now, I've used this pitch a couple times in the past, and each time I've gotten quite a welcoming response. Hopefully this can help you reconnect with an old contact that you've been meaning to reach out to. Now, if you'd like access to these templates, we have a free downloadable ebook in the description below. I would definitely recommend that you take that creative talent and rework these templates to sound more like you. Have fun with it. Treat these emails with as much care as the project you're looking to promote. Because you can have the best script in the world, but if you don't properly connect with other working professionals, then most likely, they'll never read it. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Chris Brennan, and if you'd like more insights into how adding value can benefit your script and career, click this video and I will see you on the other side.